Taoiseach, please.
Thank you, Alaska Ceola. And Alaska Ceola and members of the House. Late on Friday evening, I was contacted by Mr. Damien Carrick. He wanted to talk to me about the terrible experience of his wife, Patricia, and his family, and I want to share it with the House. In 1994, almost 30 years ago, Patricia and Damien Carrick were married. They started a life together in Galway, where over the following years they had 4 children. They made a home for those children that was filled with music and was filled with love. They lived a quiet life, focused on their family and their community. Their first 3 children were getting on well with their lives, and they were focused on making sure that their youngest Owen, who had special needs, was comfortable. They were happy. They were looking forward to life. Then on July the 29th, 2019, Trish took a call at work, telling her that it was likely she had cancer. A formal diagnosis, radiation treatment and chemotherapy followed, but 2 months ago in September 2020, Trish and Damien were told that the cancer was terminal. It didn't have to be this way. In May 2016, Trish went for her scheduled smear test, a health procedure that she always took very seriously and never missed. If there had been an accurate reading of this sample, Trish's cancer would have been identified in good time. The appropriate treatment would have been given, and the chances are that she and Damien would now be reflecting together on a worrying time in their lives, but with the illness well behind them. But there wasn't an accurate reading. Instead, the HSE and MedLab Pathology Limited have now acknowledged that the sample of 31st of May 2016 was read in a manner that was negligent and in breach of duty. The cancer was missed, the cancer spread, and the cancer is now terminal. While Trish wasn't able to travel to court to hear it, the HSE and MedLab Pathology have apologised to the Carrick family for what they've been put through. They have subsequently repeated that apology in writing to the family. The National Screening Service has also apologised. Our President, Michael D. Higgins, has spoken to Damien and the families in recent days. The President knew both families personally in Galway, Trish's family, the O'Sullivans, and the Carrick family, and he offered his sympathy for what they have gone through. And last Friday, as I said, I spoke to Damien by phone and apologised. On that call, he said that Trish, he and the family would appreciate it if I would apologise in public and on the record of this House. I have absolutely no hesitation in doing so. Trish is going through a very challenging time in her illness at the moment. Damien told me that he wanted to be with her today to listen into the Dáil, and I hope that they've been able to manage that. I hope that they are together, listening now when I say that on behalf of the government and on behalf of the nation, I offer my genuine and heartfelt apologies to Trish, to Damien, to their son Kieran, to their daughters Rina and Saoirse, and to Owen. You have been failed. Last month, Damien publicly shared his family's terrible experience. Speaking with a journalist, he said, quote, "It's been awful. Such a rotten hand we've been dealt," unquote. That is the truth, Damien. Trish was badly let down, and your family is going through the very worst of times because of the mistakes of others. Despite this, Trish and you have carried yourselves with great dignity. Nothing that I or anyone else says can change the situation you find yourselves in. But I hope that the genuine and heartfelt apology I offer today will bring in you and your family some small measure of solace. Thank you, Alaska Ceola, and the members of the House for facilitating this.
Okay, just the leaders briefly.
Agus bóilm freisin ma cóhrón a dhéanamh. I'd like to join with you, Taoiseach, in extending words of solidarity, compassion and great sorrow to Patricia, to Damien, to their family. I'm very conscious that an apology from the head of government, from the labs, the attention of Uachtaráin na hÉireann, Michael D. Higgins, will bring some level of comfort to the family. But of course, it is no substitute or no real ultimate comfort for the Carrick family as they face into the most unimaginable trauma. I want to say to them and say to us that we need to learn from this, because apologies have to translate into concrete action. Anything less than that fails Patricia, fails the women of Ireland, and fails their families. So Patricia and Damien, we wish you solidarity, and we have heard your story.
Thank you, Oscar Hirlock, and thank you, Taoiseach, for making that statement today and for advising us in advance. It's very appropriate. It's not the first time we've been here, but I acknowledge the fact that absolutely it needed to be done today. My solidarity and that of my party to Damien and Patricia for what has happened to them and their family. They should never, ever have gone through this. We all know that. But we have to learn, and I worry that we don't learn. My good friend Vicky Phelan announced a couple of days ago that her cancer is back. I've known about this for a considerable period of time. We owe it to her, to Stephen Teep from your own county, Lorraine Walsh, Emma Vicnahuna and everyone else, that we do our best for the women of Ireland. And also, Minister, the cervical check tribunal, which I'll be raising with you later on today, obviously needs to be sorted out in the coming days. So it's through that action we can honour the apologies that we've made in this House. So my solidarity to Trish, to Damien and their children. Thank you.
Thank you, and I would also like to share our solidarity and good wishes to Patricia and Damien, who I'm sure wanted to be private people, who did not want to be in a scenario where this is the kind of statement that has been made from yourself, and I'm very pleased that you have made it in this very public forum and on the record. And I think it's just so important that that there is some meaning in these kind of statements, in that we can't continue to see these failures, and we have to put the systems in place to absolutely make sure that they are eliminated to the extent that they can be eliminated. Again, I'd just like to send our good wishes to this family.
Lescan Carla. I spoke with Damien Carrick over the weekend, and he informed me that the President had called him, and Paul Reid had called him, and Taoiseach, that you had called him to express your, I suppose, condolences, or not condolences, but support to him, and to offer to read into the record of the Dáil today an apology from you and from the State, and that meant an awful lot to him. And he said the phone call that he had with you, I think, was 8 minutes, he said. It was a very important phone call. It meant an awful lot to him. And he did ask me to say that to you, that you would come into the House here today to offer a state apology to him and to Trish. I know it's a thing that he would not want, that he'd love to have Trish with them, to be a mother to his children, but unfortunately that's not to be. And I know he's listening in today, and Taoiseach, just on behalf of Damien, I just want to thank you for doing that today.
Lescan Carla, I too, Taoiseach, on behalf of the Rural Independent Group, want to thank you and indeed Uachtar and Michael D. Higgins, President Higgins, for acknowledging the fact and the failure and the sadness, and there's so many other families waiting. I listened to Vicky Phelan on radio yesterday, Emma McDonough, and indeed Stephen Teep and others. It's shocking, truly shocking. But have we learned anything? I don't believe we have. We see now since lockdown in February, since March, all procedures backed up. People not attending, not being called, can't get in. All kinds of cancer, whether it be cervical, whether it be breast check, whether it be prostate cancer, whatever. And the damage being done. And there are doctors telling you this out there, but you're not listening. And people are telling you. And the damage to physical and mental health. So you haven't learned anything. And I don't think that the HSC in its present format and the Department of Health are fit to learn. They don't want to learn, because they're a conglomerate out there that are out of control, at arm's reach, and you set them up, Taoiseach. I hate to be negative on this issue, but I'm badly negative. I'm pleading that we have a testing regime that's fit for purpose, which we haven't, and I'm pleading that we try and see the people who are away. Some have died since they've been diagnosed. And doctors say this, they're sacked. So what's going on is a total injustice and a travesty to those people that have life sentences and to the rest of our country. And the country people are big egregious to listen to it and accept it.
Deputy Thomas Pringle.
Thank you, Last Corla. Just on behalf of the independent group, I would like to acknowledge Patricia and Damien and the apology that you've given to them today, Taoiseach. I think it's vitally important. But the real thing that we can do is make sure that there's never another apology has to be given in this House again, and that will be the real thing that will make a difference to that family and to many other families. So I'd like to say thank you.
Thank you.